This is Break Fast, a segment about how long I fasted before breaking, how much weight I've lost since my last fast, what foods I'm breaking it with, and how many calories I consumed, how long my eating window was, my weight after refeed, how I'm feeling, and what's next. Hey everyone, welcome to episode 30 of Break Fast. Today's going to be a shorter episode. I just want to touch on a few things, give you a few thoughts that's going through my head. I wasn't even going to do an episode today, but I wanted to at least point out a few things that I have, learned since that last episode of Refeed, where I tried to eat 5 pounds of vegetables. That's the big thing I wanted to actually talk about today. But before I get into that, I want to also mention that today I hit a new personal best when it comes to weight loss. So today I weighed in at 131.8 pounds. The last weigh-in where I hit a personal best was 133.2 pounds, which I think was just about a week ago. So even though I've only lost another pound, that's a big thing for me because in the last 2.5 months, I've only lost about 2 or 3 pounds total. I don't know the exact number, but I'm sure I'll calculate it and put it up on the screen. So a big reason that I think I've been losing a lot more weight, or at least on the scale, is because I've been pushing a little bit harder, but I'm going to talk about that after I show you what I broke my fast with. This is going to be a quick, dirty, condensed version of my refeed. I do apologize in advance, but I wasn't even going to record an episode of Break Fast, so consider yourselves lucky. Just kidding. Next episode should be a lot more thorough. So I did start off with a salad. Good as usual. I actually didn't eat the whole thing, but this was around 750 calories. And then I had Brussels sprouts. This time around, it was cooked a lot better for around 150 calories. And then I ate about a pound of chicken, 1,000 calories, and then tomato and mozzarella salad. This is pretty good. I didn't eat a ton of it, but 350 calories. And then I had chips and guac. And I didn't film myself eating the salsa here, but I had a good amount, about 1,200 calories. And then I also had cashews, which I don't have film for, so sorry about that, but 400 calories. And then I ended the night with pie. I actually had 2 different kinds of pie with whipped cream. I ate way too much pie. I'm going to have to reassess next time, but let's round up here. So I think I ate about 2,000 calories worth for a total of 5,850 calories. And I ate all of this within, I think, a 5.5 hour time frame. So for those that didn't know, this was my 25th 65 plus hour consecutive back-to-back fast. Consecutive back-to-back. I always say that. And if you want to add the 90 plus hour fasts I did before that, that equals out to over 45 65 plus hour fasts, except the first 20 were 90 plus. And at this point, I have lost almost 90 pounds. So real quick, the one thing I wanted to talk about was that last episode of Refeed where I tried to eat 5 pounds of vegetables. If you're not familiar with what Refeed is, it's pretty much what Break Fast is, except a more uncut, unedited version of me just having my refeed. So here's a thing, and I don't know if I put it as succinctly in my episode of Refeed, but the reason I tried to eat 5 pounds of vegetables is because I was actually trying to eat healthier foods, trying to eat lower calorie, denser foods so I would get fuller quicker with less calories. And to an extent, it worked, but I didn't eat all 5 pounds of vegetables. I ate about 3-ish pounds or so, which is still a lot. The one takeaway I got from that is I could have eaten more vegetables. But I didn't because I wanted to eat my staples of tortilla chips, guacamole. I wanted to eat my pie, and I didn't want to get so full that I couldn't eat that. It's weird thinking, right? Because if you're watching this, you're like, well, you should have just ate the vegetables because that's the healthy thing to do. You would have been full and then you would have been done. But that's where the mental part comes in. Yes, I'm very disciplined when it comes to fasting. I'm very disciplined when it comes to making sure that I don't break, regardless if somebody else is eating in front of me or somebody brings pizza on a day I shouldn't be eating. Obviously, I'm very disciplined because it's been almost a year of consistent fasting. It's been 4 or 5 months of, 65 plus hour fasts back to back. So that I know I don't have an issue with. The issue that I do have is during my refeeds. One of the reasons I eat 6,000, 7,000 calories, I've said this many times, is because I don't like to limit myself when it comes to calories. I don't like to limit what I can eat and what I can't eat. And now that I've lost so much weight, I'm trying to make small steps to eat better, to be more mindful, to do better when it comes to just eating whatever I want. And so that's what that whole 5 pounds of vegetables thing was. It was kind of a test for me to see if that would help. Here's the thing though, during that episode of Refeed, I ate under 6,000 calories. And I think a big part of that was because of the vegetables. But I stopped eating at around 3.5 or so pounds of veggies because I wanted to eat my chips and guac. I wanted to eat my protein bars that taste like candy bars. I wanted to eat my pie and whipped cream. And again, that's where the mental part plays in. I needed that kind of satiety. I needed that kind of pleasure when it comes to eating food. And I know that's a weird line to talk about, a gray area or whatever to talk about, because people could be watching this and they could be saying, well, pleasure, sorry, phone's going off. What was I trying to say? Oh, the fact that people might watch this and think to themselves, pleasure, that's weird. Like, that sounds obsessive. That sounds like a disorder. But if that toes the line, what about everybody else who enjoys eating food, who enjoys going out for a drink, for a beer, who enjoys going to eat with their friends, socialize with their friends? Like, I like associating those things during my refeeds. I'm so disciplined that I eat 3 times a week. Not many people can say that they eat 3 times a week for the last almost year. And at times it was 2 times a week. And then at other times it was 1 time a week. That's how disciplined I've been with that. So I ate everything I wanted to eat during that episode of Refeed because I needed that mental release. That's not the right word or phrase, but I think you guys understand what I'm trying to say. I'm not a perfect person. I don't expect to be a perfect person. I look back at my past and I remember where I used to be and how much I used to weigh. I think about things like I live right now 48 steps above, and I couldn't have climbed those steps back in the day without being completely out of breath. There are a lot of things that I can do physically now that I wasn't able to before. I am much healthier and happier today. I'm self-confident. I have self-confidence. I'm confident in front of the camera. My whole life has turned around, and yeah, the best thing to do would eat the cleanest meat, veggies, exercise every day perfectly, sleep 8 hours a day, drink X amount of water, but life isn't like that. And I think it's important that I talk about this because I think it's important for people who are thinking about doing this to let you know that your life, when it comes to eating and all this kind of stuff, it doesn't have to be perfect either. I think you just have to figure a plan out and try to stay in those guidelines and be consistent. The one thing that I have learned over this year now is to be consistent. This is something that I'm going to talk about. I'm making a 1-year video about fasting consistently, so stay tuned for that. Anyway, that's it. That's all I wanted to share. I know this is a quicker episode, but I wanted to get those thoughts across before, I move on. Is my phone going off? 1 second. Sorry. So as I end this, I wanted to just thank everybody again for stopping by, watching this, and hopefully you learned something from it or it was informative. Before I go, I do have a Patreon for anybody who's interested. You can go to patreon.com/finally fasting. It's just a way to help support what I do. It helps offset costs. It helps me continue making these videos. And that's it. Just a little thing to share in case anybody wanted to support. So I do want to thank my patrons though for the ones that do currently support. And I think that's it. So the next episode of me eating will be an episode of Refeed where it'll be a lot longer, more unedited, more uncut. Some of you enjoy that. So here's me waving bye. I'll see you guys in the next one. All right. Take it easy. Bye. Later.